I tried to find my roots. And there were moments where I identified like this or like that. So there was a moment much later I had to let go of belonging anywhere. And while letting that go, surrendering to that, well, I felt that I belonged within. Vulnerability also can open us really and feel. And also feel what is uncomfortable, what is painful, what we don't want to feel. And then when you completely surrender, there is no expectation, because when you create it, you have an expectation in a certain way, right? And then when the expectation is gone, you surrender, then it may happen. And it's much more fulfilling when you feel it without, wanting it. Of course, I know it's there. So, yeah. So you ascend, and we always talk about ascension. But it's the descent that is interesting. The descent into our body, to embody who we are. Because if we ascend, we are up here. It's great. But we got to descend.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Awareness Club podcast. In the episode today, my guest was having a near-death experience at 9 years old, and then through her life, she started being more and more in touch with herself, discovering and being more close to the feminine energy, to the concept of womb, and to discovering herself through nature and the feminine energy. I'm having today with me AnuMa Jackie Heydemann.
Hello.
I'm very glad to have you here, and it is such a pleasure because I consider that from many points of view you are a very special guest. First, that you are like a representative, like a spokesperson for the feminine energy, not only through your background, but also through the emotion that I'm feeling from you.
Thank you. Thank you, first of all, for having me. I'm so honored to be here.
Let's start at the beginning, because I was mentioning in your presentation the near-death experience at 9 years old. As being, let's say, a first gateway, a first bridge towards discovering yourself, even though 9 years old, you are still a child.
Absolutely. So it was, in a way, a harsh and a soft experience. It was harsh because at that age and at that time, was not easy to speak to anyone about it. Unless someone would say, you may be crazy, or what happened to you after coming out of a coma. And it was a very soft one, and a kind one in a way, because I was surrounded by a presence that told me that I would live again, because I had not yet fulfilled my mission here on earth.
It was also a visual experience?
No, it was a feeling. It was energy. Yeah. It was not visual, no.
And you were hearing it, or it was just like telepathy transmitting the message?
That's a very good question. I would say I was hearing it, but not with my ears.
Okay.
You see, so it was really through feeling, through, it was a perception also, and it was very clear, and warm, and like a womb presence in a way. And yet, in the beginning, I was confused and didn't understand anything, and didn't much more afterwards, and until much later. Yes.
We are experiencing and we are attracting events and people in our life that are bringing different messages. What do you think was the message, or what was a puzzle piece in your story?
A very important piece. Because to be confronted at 9 years old with death is quite an experience. So it was a very important, I would say, portal or gateway, a portal, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, which I only realized much later when I started every decade, I started remembering more until I had all the details together. And all of a sudden, okay, that's what happened. And that's why I continued and how I continued.
So why did it happen? Why do you think it happened?
Yes, thank you. Because otherwise, the question would have been very hard to answer. I feel rather than think what might happen to me. I feel that on my path, I needed to be confronted with what life is about. Death is part of life. It's not there's life and there is death. There's life. There's birth. We come, we transform, we change, we evolve. And then there's death, another portal. So I feel that it gave me, quote unquote, an insight, but not an insight from the mind or the brain, but through my body, a very young body. This is death. And death is a portal. And sometimes we come back into what we call life, even though all is life. And sometimes we go to the other side because the soul has already fulfilled her or his or its mission.
Do you consider that this event also made you a friend with death itself, by not being afraid of it and understanding its meaning and going through life without this fear?
I wouldn't say so, because I was very young. And I kind of had to put it, I couldn't cope with that afterwards. So it took some time. And I'm not sure that that this was the impact it was to have upon me.
Not the impact, but now do you feel that you are not afraid of it because you are there?
Less, much less.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, much less. Yes.
Now let's speak a little bit also about the context of AnuMa, the child, about the family context and about the roots.
Yeah. Very important, the roots. And that's what life taught me, really. That's where you have to start in a way. And my roots, so I'm French. I'm here in France. I live in the south of France. I have been living here for most of my life. I was born in Germany from a mum of Czech, Austrian and German origin, and a dad from Dutch and Lithuanian and German origins. So this was a puzzle which I brought together when I was an adolescent. It was important for me, where do I come from? Because I felt where I was born was not where I come from. I didn't have any roots there. And this bothered me all the time. There was something which I didn't grab, which I didn't understand. And it felt so important for me to feel these roots. And so when I was 16 years old, I left home and went living abroad in different places to find myself, to find these different pieces, to put the puzzle together. And my mum, before she died, she said, you know, you did this job, you put the pieces together again, and it's beautiful. And so I could also then transmit this, offer this to my son.
And this puzzle that you were making was also creating for you a very diverse and very nourishing soil, being so different culture in all over Europe, and how this was as a meaning, as a nourishment.
At first, it was a nourishment really for my soul, for my whole being. It was, I've always felt open and also very sensitive to other cultures, language, very curious. So this means curious about life. And so it was kind of also a preparation to live in a world where diversity, where the way we are so different, it's a richness, it's a treasure. So something that can nourish all of us.
So this brings me to the concept of belonging. What? What is belonging for you?
Oh, belonging. I have a long time, I have really, let's say, half of my life I have tried to find out what does it mean to belong? What does it mean? What does it feel when you belong? And in belong is longing. So longing for something, to belong. I was longing to belong. So it means I feel at home somewhere. And what it means for me now on this path is I belong in this body temple. I belong within my soul. And I belong to a place here near the Mediterranean where I feel part of my soul is really at home. And part of my soul is also at home in the forest, sacred forest of Sainte-Baume. Yeah, and when I'm in the water, and I stretch myself out, and I'm just being held. I feel I'm at home.
Different people can feel at home in maybe different places at once, or maybe they don't find it for the moment and they keep on searching. But the most important is to feel at home in ourselves, to have that peace inside of us.
Yes.
How was for you the moment when you discovered that?
It was a relief. There was so much joy.
How did you discover?
In the water. Because I have been swimming all year long for many years now. And at the beginning, it was a bit like a challenge. Because I like challenges. And I like to move, so I like sports. And there was something there. And maybe after a certain time, one day, I was swimming and I was gliding. And all of a sudden, it was like a meditation. And there was this moment, I felt so fulfilled. There was a warmth around me, as if I was being held. And I felt it inside out and all around. There was this feeling, yes, I am at home. And I felt it in my body. I felt I'm at home in my body. And I'm at home in this vast, vast Mediterranean, or even the sky above, So there were no limits. And there was this inner, outer, this harmony. And then it happened more often.
You started to recreate the moment.
Sometimes I try to, but it didn't always work. Okay. Because it's not me commanding it. You can put yourself into a state and then invite it in, but it doesn't mean that it has to come. And then when you completely surrender, there is no expectation, because when you create it, you have an expectation in a certain way, right? Mm-hmm. And then when the expectation is gone, you surrender, then it may happen. And it's much more fulfilling when you feel it without, wanting it. Of course, I know it's there. So, yeah.
So many people are doing this as an exercise of going home, if you want, through yoga, through meditation, through breath work, and so on. You are doing it by letting yourself being held by nature, from what you understand.
Absolutely. She is so vast. She is so profound. She is so wise and wild and mysterious. And that's how we are too, we humans, all of life, right? And so it's beautiful when it happens like that. But as you were speaking about yoga, I love yoga. I do my morning practices, and sometimes you wish something to happen, right? But it happens when it is to happen, when you don't expect anything, right?
Now, speaking about water, of course, water is the most important element for us, and it's a cradle of life. What is water for you and how do you feel it?
Mm. Water, as I said before, is my home. Water is the vastness of life. You said the cradle, absolutely, the womb of life. It's really the womb of life. That's where all life emanates from. That's how we are being nourished, whether we are living underwater, above water, or on land, or in the air, or all of it together for certain species, for certain beings. And Mary Magdalene, who really guided me, who made me aware that water for me is home. And I call also the water mother, or the sacred waters of the mother, because it's huge. It's life-giving. It's also life-dissolving. It's transforming. And I feel my own inner waters within my body, the waters in the womb when I gave life, or when I was pregnant with my son. And I would even say they are waters of the soul in this symbolic sense. So, yeah, water means everything to me.
You were mentioning until now a couple of times the word womb. Why is this word so important?
It is so essential and vital to me because we are born from a womb. We come from a womb. We are being created within a womb. And through a womb, we are being nourished in order to come to be birthed into life. And we are nourished from the body of our mother, you know. And I feel when I'm in the water, I feel this like a huge womb. And, well, the cosmic womb. So this darkness, this place, mysterious place, dark place, but a warm darkness, not a fearful darkness, a nourishing darkness, a fertile and so a life darkness, that all of life is being created through this womb. So I'm very devoted, and at the same time honored, and very respectful. I bow in the sense that I'm humble. Yes, that's the word I was looking for. Yes.
For me, it makes sense in approving what you are stating before, because you are associating womb with almost all the environments. You are saying the water is a womb, the sky and earth and the whole system is a womb. So womb as a definition and this characteristic is to nourish and to hold something, to grow something, and to nourish it until it flourishes. And feels like what you're describing is you're describing your whole life through the concept of being held and being nourished constantly.
Oh, this is so beautifully expressed. Thank you. That's it. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's wonderful. I've never heard it like that. Thank you.
I'm just hearing it from you. I'm just coming back to you.
Yeah, but having it reflected back to you, it's really powerful. So thank you.
My great pleasure. Let's go from water to the forest, because you're mentioning the forest.
First of all, when I was born, I was surrounded by forests. So it had an imprint on me. And my mom, she always took my brother and myself into the forest. So I love the forest. And when I came here to the Mediterranean, from the forest, I don't need the forest. It's not so important. And I didn't realize that part of me was missing it. And then I went to Sainte-Baume, about 200 kilometers away from here. And I rediscovered forest, and I discovered the enchanted, the magical forest of Sainte-Baume, of Mary Magdalene, where she was said to have lived. And it really nourished me in a different way, and to put my feet on the ground to walk barefoot, to be in touch with the soil, with the ground. Also very nourishing. Yeah. And I let myself again be nourished also by the forest and held by the forest. Yeah.
You are feeling it as an energy or you are feeling it as an entity?
Huh. That's an energy. Yeah.
The difference that it is in my mind is that the energy comes also from a bigger entity, and it's a flux that is creating the communication between two types of entities, if you want. But when you're speaking about an entity, you are creating a communication. You are speaking to it. So this is why what I was thinking, if you communicate, if you are speaking to it, or you are letting yourself being held by that energy.
You know, my first answer was to be both. That's what and I said energy. But it's both.
Yeah.
It definitely is both, yes. Depending also how I feel, in what state of mind feeling I am in, you know. So I still feel it's an entity, but I also feel, yeah, I feel both. Both. Yeah, thanks for clarifying that. Yes, yes.
And what was so special and what attracted to you to that particular forest?
Well, Mary Magdalene. So she has been my guide for a very long time, longer than I even knew she was. And she invited me into her magical forest, her enchanted forest, first to discover the official cave. There's a beautiful cave dedicated to her, which is being managed, I would say administered by monks, by Dominican monks. And first I went there and discovered the cave, and I knew that there was something else, that there was another place, but I couldn't quite figure it out. And then I went several times, and when I said so, I just let myself be guided. And then all of a sudden I was in front of a cave, a beautiful cave, and we were talking about the room, so we come back to the room. A beautiful womb earth cave. And to be in front of this cave, it's just it's huge, it's beautiful, it's profound. And the message I was getting immediately was that Mary Magdalene was also initiated in that cave. And I made the experience, and I went inside, and it again was a womb, a uterus. And you never know what happens in there. So it's transformative. And I couldn't count it how many times I have been there on my own, to be nourished, to find myself with close friends, with family, with groups, with women, mainly women, but men too. And it is very, it's just this nourishment, and it goes down into the earth. So that it is as if you go deeper within. And when you go deeper within, you go also deeper within yourself. And then when you are several people, not too many, because it's intimate in there, it's very intimate. So you may, if you're open to, go deep within yourself. It's just really beautiful and powerful.
It's interesting because the caves are having humidity sometimes, they're cold, they're dark, so it's an environment that is not so cozy and comfortable and pampering for the human being. Although it's true that it is a saying that the humans are blessing the places. So whatever happens can have an imprint, an energetical imprint of events that were happening in the past that can keep that energy for people that are coming much later or that are feeling the energy that were let there. And you are describing exactly this type of event. How would you describe to somebody that doesn't feel comfortable at all to go into a cave? How would you describe this comfort that you are presenting and this nourishment inside of Earth in an environment that is not so cozy into generating that?
I would accompany a person not to go alone, to be with one or two close friends or really people you trust, and to take something with you that is important to you, maybe a little object, maybe a flower, whatever you may have a connection to, and a prayer or a mantra, and then also feel what's going to happen.
Be open.
Be open, exactly. Sometimes we may imagine, oh, it's it's not so nice in there, and what also can be very nice, some music, soft music, everything that helps to relax yourself a little bit and hold hands, the others, and let also the place, the cave's energy surround you and penetrate you and move through you, because it goes both ways. As you said before, we leave an imprint, and this huge and beautiful energy also leaves an imprint within us. And it can shift very quickly. What we might have thought is not so maybe cozy or comfortable, there's something else maybe cozy and comfortable with this, which is within, but is also related with the energy of the cave.
Thank you for describing how you can make a cave more comfortable. But I would like to go a step forward into what you're creating as rituals. Let's start. What is ritual for you, and how are you creating them for yourself and for others?
Ritual is every morning when I wake up, I go on my balcony and I greet the Mediterranean Sea. Every morning, this is a ritual. I give thanks to being alive. I bless my food, water I'm drinking. So this is a ritual. And a ritual can also be to be with a friend, and now we spend quality time together. We share deeply. It can be a ritual. So we can create whatever ritual we wish. And ritual for me means to be present. There are a lot of rituals in my life, in my daily life, I have to admit, and I love them. And I also love to create rituals. In women's groups, I did so, be it near the Mediterranean, because there is another cave. This is a Yoni water cave. And so that it can be a beautiful experience when you are at a certain point in your life, for instance, and you need to leave something behind, or you need a threshold, something that allows you to go through, because we no longer have rites of passage, right? They are gone, or they are so superficial and we don't even realize that they were rites of passage. And for instance, I created with a group of women, a very intimate group again, small group, so that there is a deep connection. So with beautiful rose petals, with roses who went inside the uterus, we honored her. And I spoke a poem or an invocation, and then each woman on her own swam out and into the sea. So this can be very powerful when you don't know this is going to happen. This is one ritual. Or also in the forest, so sacred forest of Mary Magdalene, in this other Yoni earth cave. So I went up a path and it came to me, or Mary Magdalene, she has very good ideas, very good initiatives. So, find the chakras in this forest and go through them. And then when you come up to this beautiful Yoni cave, so you ascend, you ascend, you ascend. And we always talk about ascension, but it's the descent that is interesting. The descent into our body, to embody who we are. Because if we ascend, be up here, it's great, but we got to descend. So these are very powerful rituals, just to give you some idea of what I like to do.
How long does it last, a ritual into a cave, for example, for you?
Oh, it can be 15 minutes, it can be longer. It also depends on the person, what's happening. Because sometimes inside a cave, things may come up, or all of a sudden you may cry and, you release. So you do not know what happened. So what is important when the ritual is being done by a person, that the person can hold the situation. So what I would just say, make sure that you trust the person. It is a trustworthy person, and you feel the person, not only what is being said or someone else said, what do you feel? Because there is a moment in a ritual where you are no longer, of course you're completely conscious, you know what you're doing and everything. But there is a part within us that is touched. And it might be a very vulnerable part. So it is just important to feel yourself to be in good hands.
You're mentioning Mary Magdalene. And you're saying about this transmission between you and her. How this is happening? How can you receive a message from a character that most people are saying that might not even have lived?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a very, very good question. I perceive her as a feminine presence, energy field. And I feel her. So, and then it's being put into word through me. And the first time I felt it was when she guided me into a forest, because I didn't even know that forest existed. I had no idea. So I went quite often to Sainte-Marie-de-la-Mer, where she is said to have arrived, right, with other women. And there is a little church there which is dedicated especially, well, to her, to Marie Jacobé, Marie Salomé, and Sarah. And I felt in this church, I felt something. I said, what is it? And then driving back, I saw this just in the middle from where I live here in Cap d'Ain and Les Sainte-Marie-la-Mer. There was this huge basilica, and I was literally drawn to it. And that's how it started. And I feel her through me, and I hear her through me. I know it's not very logic, it's not, but that's just how it is. And I trust it. And each time I trust it, it's okay. Or for instance, when I did retreats with women and I received a message. So she said, this ritual would be very good now. So I do it.
And how do you know it's her?
I just know. I just know. It's not a woo thing. I know. I know it's her.
But did you ever receive messages from other?
It's really her.
It was always her.
Yeah. It has always been her. Yes. 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 And also, well, she is deeply connected also to Isis. She was really a very, very educated, a very initiated woman. She was a priestess. I mean, she wasn't just some kind of woman. And we know that she did exist. And then, of course, different people tell different things. And all is fine. I'm not saying I have the monopole. That's how she is. No, I just perceive her. I know her. And how many poems did she inspire me? They came just through me. No channeling. I know when I'm in her presence and when things are flowing. I can't explain it any better. Sorry.
It's very interesting that only in the past 10 years, I think I was having a small research, at least 6% were saying that were channeling Mary Magdalene. And this is happening for decades and maybe hundreds of years that is not documented. But there are also very important books from people that were channeling her. And these are books in which we are finding out how the society was constructed, how she was going by the side of Jesus, and how she was having the same impact for women as Jesus was having for men. And you are saying this differentiation that you are not channeling, you are just receiving messages.
I'm not just receiving messages. I do receive messages. Okay, I feel her. I feel her presence. Okay, you see? And for instance, last year I was the co-author of a book called Magdalene Unveiled, where 30 women were writing about her encounters with Mary Magdalene. So there were also women who channeled her. Such a diversity, and so just 30 women, you get an idea. It's so different and so rich. So she has many ways to make herself known to different people, and also to men. It's not only women, but it's women, a lot of women, of course, because she is needed in the feminine energy field, so.
You were saying about this group of women, 30 women, there were no contradictions on perception, on messages?
I don't look at it anyway as contradictions. There is a richness in it. And each woman, each person has his or her own experiences, and they are to be valued unless they're completely, created and not honest and not really shared for the purpose of a true encounter.
This is actually where I wanted to arrive, because we are through channeling, you are most of the times, in order for the channeling to become better, you need to be an empty vessel. And also, in order to become an empty vessel, you need to be aligned with yourself. Because if you are not aligned, then you will have all these layers that are coming from programming, from trauma, and all these other things that are obstructing and that are creating interference. Interference with our imagination, interference with what we heard before, and so on. So this is why also through time, and also in the modern society, let's call it, a lot of people that were skeptics were also referring to exactly this type of events, where people were not having a clear channel, or they were not true to their own selves, but they were creating, because that was their path into, in the end, discovering their own self, because they were expressing what they were needed at that point as a personal truth, but not necessarily as an universal truth. Because it's one thing to have your own truth, which can change in different moments in your life, because that is aligned in that moment, but in another moment can change because you are evolving and you are becoming a different person. But it's not reflecting anymore with the opinions of others, and this is why it feels that there are contradictions. This is exactly what I was bringing this. In order also to mention that is not necessarily important, as you said, is not important exactly the facts or exactly what it is, but the felt thing that you are having it inside.
Yeah, and she has been my guide. I mean, she has been my guide for such a long time now. So I know it's her, and I mean, I don't have to mention it all the time, It's not the point. I know she's here. And it's not something that I need to believe in it. And I wouldn't want to believe in it, because believing for me doesn't make sense in this way, you know. So I have to feel it. It moves, it's through my body, through my soul, through my whole being. Then I know. It does. And there are also people, I mean, I read some articles which was even being said that there was a false Mary Magdalene energy, you know, an entity. So, I mean, it can go very far. And at the same time, keep it simple, keep it vrai, comment dire, true, you know. And you don't need to impress anyone with it, right? But you know it.
Yeah.
And that's important. And then when you share it, well, it does give it another dimension. It's beautiful when it's being received as it is and not as something it should be, maybe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's correct.
Yeah.
And speaking that you were a co-author of the book, you just launched a new book.
Yes, absolutely. I'm so happy and joyful. I feel like a little girl, you know. There's so much, what I so much loved about, I say creating this book, but it was a co-creation. It was literally flowing through me. And I feel like, yeah, I feel so, there is an innocence. And this is like being in the water. You're in the water, you splash, you dive, you enjoy. And it is this joy of life, which is inherent in each and every one of us. And for me, this is deeply spiritual, to have this fountain of joy and to share it with others. And that's how I feel about my book.
Tell me about the process of writing the book.
Well, I have always loved writing, as I told you before. And a couple of years ago, I would love to write a book one day. And about me, what should I write about me? You know, who would be interested in it? And more, also the poems, I was inspired by the Magdalene and transmissions, things were coming through, and water came more and more through. And then I was like, oh yes, okay, there is something there that wishes to be expressed through me. So it's not my book, it's me and me. Yes, it's my story. But through my story flows something, flows a river, flows water. And when I came back last year in September from Moria, French Polynesia, where I had the immense privilege and honor to be in the water and near whales in a very respectful way, I wish to say, which is very important because it's their habitat, it's their energy field. So it's for us human to be as respectful as possible. And when I came home, and this encounter with the whales just opened up something. And when I came home, I knew I would be writing. It was as if I didn't have the choice. And then I tried to move back from it again. And no way. And then I started writing. It literally flew through me like water.
But this book, it's a description of your whole life, no? Your whole life, it's in it.
The essence of my soul embodied in this woman's body temple.
Yes.
How I was guided, and through water, through this different life experience, through these vital portals in my life, it opens up and it deepens into something that is can be shared with every human being. And maybe, I wouldn't say, maybe a little bit more for women, because I talk about the womb, yes. This being said, you beautiful men, you have a feminine side within you. We both have. And I find it very important nowadays that men may finally, enfin, you know, also live this part, this energy, and that this may flow, whether we are woman, man, or non-binary, or, you know, Yes. So there is, I'm sharing something very deep from within, which is not only personal to me, it's personal to all of us. And I deeply also honor life, our deep connection to life, to nature, to who we truly are, to be again in, and this is how indigenous people say, quote unquote, right relationship with all of life around us. So that we can take again our true place and not this above thing and this only here thing, but with all that we are, we humans, part human, part divine, and completely integrated in the web of life.
What I'm hearing from you and what comes to my mind is that you are completing a full circle. That at the beginning of your life, when you're a teenager, you are putting the puzzles together for your family and to understanding who you are and where are you coming from. And now you're completing a book that is finishing a puzzle of the feminine that was flowing through this character, which is your feminine incarnation.
Yes, beautifully said. And it couldn't be truer what you're saying, because I have a son. So my maternal line will stop here, right? So I don't have a daughter to whom I will be able to transmit, of course, to my son. And the feminine energy, he also has a beautiful feminine and masculine energy. But this being said, it stops here. So it's truly, in every way, I'm completing something. And I realized that when I wrote one part in the book, and I all of a sudden, yes, so your ancestral mother line, maternal line, lineage stops here. So I'm making it round there too, you know? Yes.
I want to be a bit more positive. And I would say that it doesn't stop, because when your boy will have a kid with his children, if it will be boy or girl, either if it will be a girl and the transmission is going through him, even though he's having, as you're saying, feminine and masculine side. So it passes also through him. So it will arrive to heal his children. If it will be a boy, it will be again a transmission. If it will be a girl, it will be resumed to the channel.
You're completely right. Absolutely. And I didn't mean, something finishes, but something is being made round again.
Round again, yes.
So
A full circle,
again.
yeah.
A full circle. And then the circle, of course, goes to my son, and not only to him, to all the interactions, right? To nature around us. So it's always, it can always be a nourishment in a certain way. Yes. Yes.
What would you say, because we were speaking about contact and about flow and writing, what was this book as a therapy for you? Writing in general, journaling represents a therapy method. Then writing poems means that you are expressing something that you are conscious about or not conscious about. But also passing this being even more deep, because you are speaking about your life, must have been a therapy for you. Did you felt it like that?
I didn't feel it like that. No.
No.
I didn't. Return to the womb of life is what I feel it is an honoring of life. It's full of deep gratitude. And when I'm being inspired by poems, for instance, or transmissions, there is this deep devotion to life. It's deep devotion, honoring, gratitude. And it is like not all my devotion, there's still a lot of devotion. But I expressed really my devotion to life, to being alive, to this joy of life which is inside of me, and this fountain, this spirit, and I'm so grateful for it. So this is really a tribute to water, to the mother. And when I say to the mother, I mean to life. Yeah. But not a therapy, no. I didn't feel it like that. But it could have been, right? Could have been.
Let's define this concept of devotion, and if you want, also in contrast with self-optimization.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of self-optimization isn't bad, right? But too much, we are again in a spiral that takes us into a very masculine way of functioning, which is okay, which we need absolutely. And I'm not saying that this is the only way of being masculine, not at all. But it's, again, we need to be better, higher, faster. You know, we are never enough. We are never enough. And devotion is, for me, can only speak for me, is to stop a moment, to feel, to look around us. It may be a beautiful flower. It may be a sunset. It may be a person you love, your child, your animal, a huge mountain, what and whoever. And you realize, wow, I'm alive. I love. I'm being loved. And when I, again, say she's always speaking about water, when I'm in the water on my back in the Mediterranean, and I close my eyes, and all of a sudden I open them, and I look at this blue sky, and I say, God, I'm this tiny being in the Mediterranean, which is really not even 1% of the ocean and the seas on Mother Earth. And Mother Earth is spinning. I mean, how crazy is that? And how wonderful, how awesome. And I can only, I can only bow to life. And this is devotion. And devotion is also waking up in the morning and say, I'm here, thank you. Thank you. Or in the evening, thank you for another day. How was I nourished today? And maybe was not so good. And both have their place. It's fine. We don't need to be perfect. And this self-optimization, it's something, perfectionism. We go again towards something we have to grab. We are not enough. We are not good enough. Again and again and again. We are good enough. And we also have sides that are not so great. But maybe can we love them, accept them as we would with our child, with a good friend? Maybe. And devotion is always for me towards life.
What you're describing can be also a definition for presence. Because you are mentioning exactly to enjoy a friend, to enjoy to be there, to see around you, to feel, to have the texture, to have the smell, to be rooted in reality and in the present moment. Yeah. So it was also a definition for presence.
I would say, if I may, a warm presence, warm presence, filled with gratitude. Because in devotion there is something. When I'm feeling my devotion, I'm deeply grateful. But it's not a grateful say, oh, thank you. Of course, it's also thank you. But it's coming from deep within this gratitude, filling you up in this warm presence.
Mm-hmm. It's also this definition between understanding and knowledge and living life.
Yes, and wisdom, right? Mm-hmm. True wisdom is the lived. It's the lived experience, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I was also having this discussion that wisdom is not the same as knowledge, and is coming from the field of the higher self, where intuition sits, where creativity, innovation, and so on. And this is also why you can learn all your life and not have wisdom, and vice versa. Somebody that never learned something, you can go to an elderly and have wisdom from him.
Absolutely. Wisdom can also be a transmission, right? From, as you were mentioning, there is a transmission, and yet it has to be lived then through the body and mind and soul, spirit of the other person. in order for it to be incarnated, right? To be felt, to be lived, because you were speaking about lived experience also, right? Yeah.
What would you like to, for women in general, to take from this book, to remain with?
To remember who they are, to allow themselves to be from within, and don't need to be perfect. Nobody is. You know, we live in a time where we have so many means and so many possibilities that we can, as I said before, go again into that spiral. To please, to be loved, to be acknowledged, to be recognized. And may we women, may we feel that we are enough and that we can explore who we are without having to be this way or that way. And feeling welcome also, maybe. Yeah. And loved in a way, in a very broad and deep way, but also for men and their beautiful feminine energy. Yeah.
This is also a part of one topic that I wanted to arrive, which is remembrance. How would you describe remembrance, and how important is it?
When I hear remembrance, I feel connected to something very ancient, to something that does not only flow through bloodlines where we come from, we can go far, 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 far back, but also from nature, from the elements, from the animals. There is a wisdom there. For me, it is connected to an ancient wisdom which has been transmitted, you know, and is hardly accessible, because for it to be accessible, we need to know it exists. We need to know how to open up to it. And I think life teaches us sometimes, or often maybe. And are we ready? Are we open? So there is something very ancient. And for me, as I said, water is not only the source of life. Water is a living presence. Water is consciousness. We know that today. We know it on a scientific level. We know it on a spiritual level. It all has its place, and it all is being woven together. So there is not only this or that. It's always more complex than that. So yes, the consciousness of water, I can feel it, for instance. And things are being, it's not the word, but wisdom, I would say, wisdom is being transmitted, and can also be transmitted when you go into a forest, when you are in touch with a tree, or you hug a tree, or you're near a tree, and you open your energy field, as you said before, your presence, a warm presence, again filled with gratitude, maybe devotion.
You said that you can feel it. How does it feel?
A deep, deep knowing within, and as if my whole body knows. It's difficult to describe. I can't. It's really. I feel it like a tingling. I feel it, and it's not only because I feel a tingling that it's like that. You know, it's very earthy for me. It's not something. It's very earthy, very grounding, very lived, very.
Which is its nature.
It
is lived.
It's lived. And it's an aliveness. That's what, And it's a sensual aliveness. Sensual because our senses, our five senses, we hardly use them all. I mean, and there are even more senses than the five senses, of course, as you know. So I would say a sensual aliveness. And through this sensual aliveness, has a transmission.
I wanted to go deeper with you on the feeling aspect. Because we were discussing terms and concepts, and now what you are describing is actually awareness itself. Because the fundamental layer is consciousness that becomes aware of itself. So awareness in all living beings, in everything that is. What you are describing is as you let yourself emerged into the wisdom of awareness itself. That is expressed through what you're saying, through the water, through the trees, through. But the feeling, I wanted to see how you describe the awareness itself, because this is the root of what we are discussing.
Yeah. I try to describe it. That's how I feel. And what I also feel is being held in that awareness, right? Being held in it. It is something much larger, wider, vaster, deeper. And it's in a way, I come back to the womb.
Because you are held.
Well, yes. That's how I perceive it. I mean, I can only speak
I know.
spiritual, Yes, yes. And it's beautiful the way you just described it. And this is how it echoed within me,
Coming back to the book, what are the chapters that you wanted to mention from everything that you have lived, from all the wisdom that you have gathered? How did you created the chapters? Because they are not only description of events, they are also symbols of the most important pillars of your life, I suppose.
Yeah. I was inspired to create gates, or you can say portals. And I was also inspired to use it's part narrative, yes, and this is then about my life. And there's a lot, there are invocations, there are transmissions, which are hardly, or a little bit maybe about my life. This is much more general. It's more what I received and what I perceived. See, so it's very diverse. And I like this idea. Well, I was inspired like that. So, and these portals where I feel that I had to go through them. And for me, it's like a temple. And I would like to, or through my book, I do invite the readers into the temple. So they are not only reading a part of my life story, they are being guided into the temple. So they will be with me in the temple.
And I think how you are touching people's lives and souls with this book, it's through your vulnerability.
Yes, and I would add sensitivity.
Oh, that for sure. That for sure. But I wanted to bring the light of the unseen power of vulnerability, because in our society it was condemned for so long, especially in men, because women could be vulnerable, but men never. And that was creating a lot of trauma, a lot of misunderstanding, a lot of the feeling of being an outsider, if you're feeling vulnerable, or you need to hide that. And now, of course, it's happening also with women. How would you describe the power of vulnerability, and what lies when you assume what you have, what you own, and then how you let that work for you? Because it's not like a weapon. It's like something that you let it create your field. This is how I see it.
But first of all, we are extremely vulnerable beings. And in order to survive, I mean, we had to find strategies, right? And that's what we have still been doing and still do at certain moments, because we can't be vulnerable all the time. When you have to protect someone, when you're a mother or father and you have to protect a child, you can't be vulnerable. So right. This being said, of course, vulnerability is a doorway, is a portal into that, I would say, makes us, I would say, for humans, most human. And I have the feeling that animals are also vulnerable. So it's not only for humans, but we're talking about humans right now. And for me, vulnerability is linked, as I said before, to sensitivity. In it is all the what we are feeling, all the subtle feelings also. You know, sometimes we aren't even aware. It is as if it were hidden in there, or maybe protected sometimes also in there. You know, because to be vulnerable means also that, or if you allow yourself to be vulnerable, it means you're in a safe space, or safe enough space where you allow yourself to be vulnerable. And within it is maybe a wound. And behind the wound is a treasure, is a light, is something beautiful. So sometimes hidden for such a long, has been hidden for such a long time, or was hidden for such a long time. And vulnerability also can open us really and feel. And also feel what is uncomfortable, what is painful, what we don't want to feel. Yeah. And that's why being safe, feeling safe, is like a comforting space around it. And I find it really beautiful to be vulnerable. There's a beauty, there's a strength in it. Say, what comes to mind right now is untouchable. It's so subtle, so fine, so beautiful, you know. And I do find it very important that men are expressing their vulnerability, and women too, because we were allowed, but women also, you know, changed quite often in order not to be too vulnerable, because when you show yourself to be too vulnerable, it's not always treated with respect. So yeah, it's a what a portal. Wow. And not always an easy one, let's be honest, you know. And yet, in order to I don't know if that's the right word, but to be fully human, well, we gotta be vulnerable. We gotta show our vulnerability. But maybe it's also a process, you know, and also after a while to see, well, here I allow myself to be vulnerable, and here it's okay. And in other moments, no.
You were mentioning the word wound, and during our life, we are having many wounds, and the most pregnant are mostly coming from our childhood, or maybe traumas that we are gathering during our lifetime. But along the wounds, a wound can be also an experience that is registered in a wrong way, or with a big emotional imprint, or can be also a programming or something that we need to let go, a skin that we need to shed.
Yeah, like the snake.
Yes. What was the hardest thing for you to let go in your evolution?
You mentioned before belonging, this longing for belonging. And since my parents arrived after the Second World War as refugees in Germany, in a completely destroyed Germany, so I had the impression I didn't belong there. I don't have any roots. This was horrible for me. And I felt this at a very young age. It was as if I did not belong somewhere, even though I had a family who loved me. But there was this deep, deep feeling within me. And for me, it was very important to find out. And as I said before, I left when I was 16, and I tried to find my roots. And there were moments where I identified like this or like that, or here I was more French, or here was more that. And all of a sudden, well, I felt comfortable, but something didn't feel right. So there was a moment, much later, I had to let go of belonging anywhere. And while letting that go, surrendering to that, well, I felt that I belonged within, and I belonged here to some part of the sea and forest. So, and I did feel, and by letting go or by surrendering to it, well, it showed me some other way of belonging.
Oh, this is such a topic, this letting go, that we were coming back in these discussions here in the Awareness Club, of trusting life and of letting go of rigidity, and how do I think that life should be, and where I think I should put all my energy, and I'm everything doing consciously because that is the best way.
Yep.
This letting go comes over and over again, and I think it's a universal step for each one of us in evolution, because we surrender to life itself, and we surrender in the end to ourselves as well.
Yes.
So we surrender to our own intuition, or in compensation with Mother Nature, or to awareness itself.
There are many little things in life, in everyday life, we may surrender to. That can be good practice, I just, and it's also something that happens. You can invite it. You can create, as one says so often, the conditions. But it happens when it has to happen. You cannot provoke it. And that's good. You have to trust. And today we leave our human bodies behind. So we will have to surrender too, right? So it's like the whole life is a process of surrendering, right? Yeah.
You are saying our own life, but what do you consider about past lives?
Well, I do have, yes, some experience, especially one with the past life experience. So it's not that I believe, I know through my body, yes, through my soul, that I did have at least one former life, and there were certainly others. However, I do not know how things will, or what will happen, or how things will evolve after death, after surrendering this body. So this will be this is another mystery, as life is a mystery. So it's part of life's mystery.
I was asking you because I know this experience of yours, and also it's this wondering, we are really living multiple lives, or it's something that we are picking up from the unity of past human experiences that can be transgenerational and so on. So we are tuning in to that frequency that is still in our back.
Yes.
Because the DNA is reproducing and is continuing its evolution. So it's really that a part of who am I today, even though I will not be the same Bogdan, I will not be even a man and so on. I was really living that, or I'm picking that up because I needed today as to continue what was left there.
Yeah, wow, very interesting. Yes. Yes. Yeah, 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 certainly, certainly.
Because when we are thinking about consciousness
Yeah.
and about the experience of life, it is this metaphor of us being a wave of the ocean. And we are just a wave that is increasing, going through life, and then creating it, and then dissolving it into the massive ocean. So when it comes back, and it comes back into the water, and comes back to its form, universal form, it doesn't restrain anything from what Bogdan was.
Yeah.
It's just something that is remaining into the universal consciousness as the experience, but will remain something from the characteristics of Bogdan, or you are just here just to offer everything that you have. So your existence itself to the cumulative.
I love that. I love that idea, and I love the metaphor with water. Absolutely. Yes. That's
Because
beautiful.
because that means that I don't own anything, and at the end, anyway, I will not own anything. But that will exclude that I will reincarnate, because that is the mind that wants to grab something that will still be something in the future
Interesting.
as a form.
Oh, yeah. I've never heard this perspective. I like it. I like it. We will find out.
My dear AnuMa, in this moment in your life, what is the one message that the world needs to hear from you?
Feel again that we are part of nature, and to be in right relationship with all of life, to honor all of life, because we are part of life. And for me, tending to water is tending life herself. It's tending to life. It means this is a metaphor, right? And at the same time, it's real. It's palpable. It's material. It's and water with all these different compositions, or it changes, and it's a good metaphor. And at the same time, when you imagine what life creates, so we don't have to put so much effort in it. We are putting so much effort in it. And feeling what is here, feeling who we are, feeling what's happening around us, and being in contact with that, you know? I have the impression, I have the sensation that it grounds us, it humbles us, and at the same time, it elevates us. Each one of us is a mystery, and is an amazing gift, a sacred gift. So, yeah, just let's dare living, let's dare exploring, and honor the spirit of life. Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for your words, for your wisdom, and for sharing with us your experience of life.
It was such a pleasure, joy, and true honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you. As for the rest of you, I hope you liked today's episode. If so, please let's continue the discussion down below in the commentaries. And if you consider, share this with a friend that will benefit the information. And until next time, don't forget, take care of yourself.